Look, I still haven't found the actual legislation for this. I want to see the actual act of law itself, because on IRS it just publishes the brief explanation, right? But I was looking into this like last year, and all the things I've been learning in England about the petition rights, I have been proving it. I've been proving that the King's Council are wrong, because they lied. They didn't tell the truth about the Sir Erskine May books or anything. This is like King's Council. I've shown that they've done things wrong, right? In America, this law, right? It says here, a 501c organisation is a United States corporation or a trust, an unincorporated association, or another type of organisation which is exempt from federal income tax under 501c3 of Title 26 of the United States Codes. I'll try to find where that is. It's linked here. It is one of 29 types of 501c non-profit organisations, but 501c3 tax exemptions apply to entities that are organised and operate exclusively for religious, charitable, scientific, literally, educational purposes, but also political as well, right? Because you've got illegal political campaign intervention. But the thing is, right, this is the thing. When you are acting as a citizen or a group of citizens, this is the thing. If you give someone a donation, right, you're allowed to give so much as a donation, right, up to a certain amount without tax. You're acting in these different capacities. So if you do someone's garden and they pay you money, right, you've just earned a small amount of money, like a very low amount of money. If you earn large amounts of money, you've got to register. If you give someone charity, right, you can do so much for charity, right? And you're acting in a different capacity as an individual. When you do an act, it's a charitable act, right? When you do like work, labour to be paid, right, that's a different act. The thing is, when you are signing petitions and when you are voting in elections, right, you're acting in a capacity for those purposes, right? Some of them aren't taxed because they're non-profit. They're actually non-profit activities. Signing petitions and going to vote are non-profit activities. This is the thing. You're acting in a non-profit capacity. Now, this is when it comes into intervening in political campaigns or not, right? Whether your actions are intended to intervene in a political campaign. If you are an individual and because you signed a petition or going to vote, or you're annoyed with something to do with that in that capacity, if you intend to bring a legal case against it, you're still within that. The thing is, you are acting within non-profit in the first place. You're wanting to bring a legal case against someone for things you did in a non-profit capacity, in a non-profit mode. And that's the thing. In a non-profit mode, you're not allowed to act against the campaign, right? Now, the thing about bringing a legal case is that if you're wanting to sue someone, then you get paid out, right? But the thing is, the case is for activities. You're taking someone to court for activities that you're engaged in for non-profit. And you're not allowed to engage or pursue anything in connection with those activities, directly or indirectly, which is going to derail, obstruct, hinder a political campaign. This is what 513C is. The thing is, what they're not acknowledging here, or what they make they're thinking just like these like non-profit groups, organisations, that get funding or whatever. As a citizen, this is where I'm having trouble. I had trouble over here because when I was getting things made for the petition, I was trying to claim the tax back. They never bothered creating something properly for people to apply to get the tax back. And then the one that you do apply to, they didn't get anything for when you're acting. They didn't make it clear that, well, they know you can act as a citizen in a non-profit capacity doing petitions. They didn't really give you a proper tax claim form because you're acting in a non-profit capacity, but you're not big. You're not registered because you're not like a large political party or group. So it's kind of like a gap. But they have got a form for claiming tax back, but they just made it really difficult to know what to fill on it. The thing is, you're acting in a non-profit capacity, and in the VAT Act 1994, it says that any body that's acting in a non-profit capacity, but there are different types of bodies. There is corporate and there are incorporated bodies, but you can also have a non-incorporated body. Now, a non-incorporated body is not registered with the government, but it's still recognised as a body and a political body, like if you get a lot of people to sign a petition. Now, this is what I've been arguing with them. So they will basically making it very, very difficult, or not wanting people to know or realise they can claim their tax back, or they don't have to pay it in the first place, right? Because you can act in a political capacity as a citizen. Now, this is the thing when you're acting in a political capacity as a citizen in America for non-profit activities, you're not allowed to intervene in political campaigns or act in any way, which would be to initiate a legal case. To have a legal case, you've got to initiate it. Now, the court might think, oh, well, the court, we can do what we want. No, the person who's the plaintiff is coming to a court with a case that for activities they were engaging in a non-profit, right? And they're trying to even hinder, stop, prevent, or disrupt the campaign which they were engaged in. It doesn't matter what the campaign is. They're not allowed to use the court to that end. And even if they were suing someone is not trying to prove that they can't run or shouldn't run or something like that. All of the people who run all of the government voting and election events are meant to be volunteering and acting impartially, because you're not allowed to be for or against the campaign. So when you're checking people's entries, right, into the petition for president, you've got to be impartial, right? You can't be on one side or the other, because then you'd be directly or indirectly for or against one of the candidates, right? When you volunteer to count the ballots or to count the petitions or to even check to see if, the entrant has conformed to the rules, you're acting in an impartial capacity as a volunteer. If you weren't, you wouldn't be allowed to count the ballots or whatever. Now, the difference is when these private persons are bringing these cases, they're not acting impartially. They're actually opposing it against it. But signing petitions and voting is non-profit. In those non-profit activities, they're not allowed to motivate themselves towards any actions or activities that are intended to, or the purpose to derail or stop campaigns, including challenging them legally. This is the thing. You see, that advisor for RFK said, oh, they're going to sue you no matter what. But that's the worst advice ever, because that's actually agreeing that they can sue you. Private citizens, they can't. And I don't care how long they've been doing it or trying it or whatever, you can't do it. If someone's broken the law, report them to the police, right? And as for all the counting and qualifying and entry activities. It's none of the private citizens' business. If they think something's done wrong, then they report it to the authority. They report it to the electoral authority, right? That's within their capacity. They report it to the electoral authority because the electoral authority is checking, counting, and acting impartially. But those citizens they're going to be going to vote, and they actually are on the side. The thing is, with that clear view, that clear choice place, and the Democrat connections, that there are indirect. It says in a direct or indirect affiliation with organisations. They're absolutely indirect ones for sure, and even more so, there are direct ones. You can't bring these type of cases. I don't know how they got it into the court in the first place. Someone scammed it. This is the type of thing that we're up against here in England. And we're actually starting to prove it, finding out all the things that have been done wrong in the legal system. I go check this out. This original law. They're not looking at the citizen as a individual who is acting and engaging in a non-profit activity, and in that non-profit activity, voting, petitions, and elections, you're not allowed to bring a legal case. You're not allowed to pursue or think about it. That's what 501c is. You don't have to be like a massive organisation or a donor organisation. It can be a group of individuals or even an individual that organise and operate exclusively. Well, you're exclusive when you're acting when you're going to vote, or when someone comes out to your door and you sign a petition. You're acting in a political capacity, a non-profit. See, look, organisations described in Section 501c3 are prohibited from conducting political campaign activities to intervene in elections in public office. Well, that's the thing. When you're signing a petition, or when you're going to vote, right? You're acting in it doesn't have to be an organisation, because a lone citizen is acting in a political capacity of non-profit sphere of activity, and there's different law on that, and when they're acting in that sphere and mode of their operations, they're not allowed to engage in activities directed towards blocking or obstructing other campaigns. Or they're allowed to support them, or they're allowed to oppose them only to say that I am not going to support this campaign, or I do support it, But or they can say to other people, don't vote for them or whatever. But they're not allowed to say, block you from going about your activities, but also attempting to get an order through a court which would knock someone off the ballot. It is actually doing that. I don't think they've actually used this to the full extent of what it means, and they're not even writing I don't think they're writing their advice out that clearly in this. That's why I want to try and find out where's a bit of law for this. Of Title 26 of the United States Code. Domestic portion of federal statutory tax law. Because you're doing something which is not taxable. You engaging in activities and doing things that aren't taxable. So what it's doing is putting in a certain classification and band of sphere of activities. And in those activities, there are certain things you're not allowed to do. And one of them is any action which results in a campaign being intervened in or stopped, which starting and bringing a legal case against them surely is one of them. Because that's what the outcome of it is and what the goal and intention is. It doesn't matter that it's a court doing it. Oh, we're a court, we can do what we want. Yeah, but who's bringing the case? Who's bringing the case? And what's the case being brought on because of activities and things that happened while they were that person, those people, were engaged in non-profit activities? You know, that's the thing. Title 26.